Yo, welcome back to the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup. I'm Tony Kurre, Kip Keefer, and the legend. Before we get into just a host of fantastic sports, we got the College World Series going on. We got great golf tournaments going on. We got the Belmont going on. We got the NBA playoffs. We got the Stanley Cup. I mean, it goes on and on. Major League Baseball. I want to know what's going to be on Kip Perspective, my friend. What's going on?
Kip Perspective is going to talk about fouls in sports. I'm calling fouls. There's some people that really need to be called out. I'm blowing the whistle on them today, but we're also going to give you our Belmont picks.
Where it's always 62 degrees, the Legend Cave. What you got for us today, man?
You heard of Mr. Smith goes to Washington. This week we seen Mr. Saban go to Washington, and I'm going to talk about Mr. Saban's trip to Washington, D.C.
All right.
It may surprise you.
Yeah, it always does. In the NBA playoffs this year, we'll have our 8th different winner, and a lot of people are loving that. They're loving the parity of the National Basketball Association. Isn't it great for everyone? So everyone gets a piece of the pie. We're going to talk about, are dynasties good or bad? Is it great where every team wins? And out of the 4 major sports that I threw in college football, which one has the longest streak of unique, different winners every year in a championship? You might be surprised. Speaking of championships, we got some baseball going on, and half of the league is the SEC.
8 of the 16 teams still alive are from the SEC, and this is amazing. Alabama, Auburn, and Troy are hosting
Trojans, baby.
regionals. How about those Troy Trojans?
How about those Troy Trojans? That's fantastic.
They go to Gainesville and punk the Gators twice in a row, 10-2 in the deciding game. But it's just amazing that 3 of the 8 super regionals are right here in Sweet Home, Alabama.
And one of the reasons I love the College World Series is much like college basketball during March Madness. Sometimes you see teams that have never made it into the big dance. They finally get there, like the Merrimacks. And when I'm seeing these scores at the bottom of the screen, and I have no Stony Brook, I don't even know what these Major League Baseball teams or these baseball teams are coming from. And then you see a team like Troy get themselves a regional legend. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so proud of the Troy Trojans. And we wondered why Alabama and Auburn don't have all that football money. Well, it looks like they're investing it in other sports, Tony.
Left-handed pitchers.
Really, these other sports are going really well at Alabama. It's just the football program that's ranked 18th at the moment.
Are left-handed pitchers like left-handed cigarettes? My dad used to call the wacky tobacco the left-handed cigarette is what he used to call it.
Alabama players need to stay away from those.
All right. We do have the final jewel in the crown, the Triple Crown. I had Golden Tempo early in the season. I probably won't play it now because it's not going off 23-1, although I do like the horse, but because it's such a long race, probably going to pull back a little bit. Yeah, he'll make a run, and again, maybe he needs to start off last in order to finish first, but I cannot wait to hear some of your picks today.
Yeah, we're going to give, I'm not going to shock the world. When I get to the breakdown, we're going to talk about Renegade, who's going to be the favorite, but I just think physically he's the guy to beat. But I've got a couple sleepers for you, so stay tuned for that. And I'm going to call a foul on the horse racing industry. We got to fix the Triple Crown.
Okay. I cannot wait to hear that because that's been going on for a long time. I guess it was 2018 we had a Triple Crown winner. I'm trying to think how long. It was 37 years, was it not, between Triple Crown winners? And then, of course, we had one. Then we had
Pharaoh finally got it done, and just 2 years later, Justified.
And everyone kept talking about, why we do have the Belmont? Why are we running these 3 races so close together? It is the one time of the year where everybody in the nation watches horse racing. It's the fastest 2 minutes of sports, the best 2 minutes of sports, the sport of kings. I lived in Louisville, Kentucky. I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to hear how you're going to switch that up a little bit. And hopefully it will benefit horses like Golden Tempo that sat out the second crown, because that does not help anybody.
And yeah, I got Legend into horse racing.
Yeah, you did. Are you into it, brother? Are you on it?
I'm into the winning. I love winning. Kip Keefer knows his stuff, and I like to bet with people that know their stuff. Kind of like you. I mean, you're pretty good at picking.
Oh, how's the baseball bet going between you two?
I think I'm a game and a half up, 2 games up. The Reds are a game over 500. I think the Orioles are chipping up, but the Reds, man, they got this Burns kid who went off a couple nights ago. He's 7-1, a $1.46 ERA, and he loses to the Kansas City Royals. Don't get it. It's one of the reasons I'm going to be talking about streaks and everything else. But we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be nip and cut talk. I think, well, by after the All-Star break, I'm going to have a board up behind us with the standings.
I think it comes right down the wire, down the stretch they come.
And I'm actually going to be mentioning the Baltimore Orioles in my bone fragments in just a few minutes. So we'll get out. It's going to be a fantastic show. Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup is on the air now. They call me Tone the Bone. That's why we do bone fragments here in the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino. Starting lineup, just fragments, little things that kind of wander in my head. You know, I hear a lot of people talking about the NBA playoffs going on right now, the NHL playoffs right now, and people talking about being the 8th consecutive year we'll have a different NBA champion. Of course, we had Oklahoma, Boston Nuggets, Warriors, Bucks, Lakers, and the Raptors. Now we'll either have the Knicks or San Antonio, and I love the lineup. I love Brunson, Wembanyama. I love everything about this series. It's fantastic. So everyone's saying, isn't it great to have a league like the NBA where everyone has a shot to win? Everyone gets a chance to win. We have 8 different winners over 8 different years. Isn't that wonderful? And I thought to myself, what is wonderful? Is it wonderful to have dynasties in your sport? Do we like when the Dodgers win back-to-back? Do we like when the Yankees win it all? Do we like when the Crimson Tide is going back-to-back? Do we like dynasties? Do we like when the New England Patriots had their run? Do we like when Wooden won 10 or 11 in a row? Or do we like it where we have parity and everyone has an opportunity? So I thought I'd look at all the leagues and see who's gone the longest without repeating. It's very, very interesting. If you look at the NHL, for example, only 3 times have they gone 4 years without a repeat. A unique winner only 4 years in a row, 22-25, 38-41, and 49-52, which is kind of crazy. We mentioned the NBA. They have gone out 8 years, which is unbelievable. The National Football League has actually done with the Steelers, Saints, Packers, Giants, Ravens, Seahawks, Patriots, and Broncos. They have gone 8 consecutive years without having a repeat, which I think is really interesting. You look at college football, they have also gone 8 years, from 1937 to 1943, and most recently, 1998 to 2004. That was Tennessee, Fulmer's year in 1998, Oklahoma, Miami, of course, of Florida, not of Ohio, Ohio State, LSU, USC, and then USC repeated, but that 2004 got vacated, so that counts as an 8th different team, a unique team. And of course, then we go all the way to one sport that I think everyone's really surprised about, because the luxury tax in Major League Baseball this year is over $300 million different. The Dodgers are spending over $400 million on their roster. $400 million. The Pittsburgh Pirates are under $100 million. Think about that. $300 million, that's annual right now. No wonder the Dodgers are winning it all. So wouldn't you be surprised to know that the longest ever a league has gone with a unique winner every single year is Major League Baseball. They went 10 straight years from 1987 to 1998. They did it with the Yankees, the Pirates, the Phillies, and every time I say these, I think, are we ever going to see the Cardinals back at it? The Dodgers, the Baltimore Orioles. Go, Legend, let me hear you, baby. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The Tigers, the Kansas City Royals. Remember when remember George Brett? No. The Mets and the Twinkies. So here's the difference. Do we like dynasties or do we not? It all depends on where you live, brother. If you're a Cincinnati Reds fan like me, I go back to the big Red days. Man, I loved it in the 70s. They should have won in 77. It should have been a back-to-back-to-back. They got full of themselves. Sparky Anderson lost his brain. Pete Rose started betting on baseball, and they lost it in 77. They still had the best roster. They had 8 All-Stars in 1976. 8 and 6 starters. It was crazy. And, of course, everyone knows about that 75 squad that won that unbelievable World Series against the Bo Sox. They did against the Yankees the following year. So, Cincinnati is not known as a big town. Keefer and Kurre Sports, we actually talked about, smaller league towns, Birmingham being like a second league type of town. And would it be good for an NBA squad to come in here and have Major League Sports? You betcha. But could we actually sacrifice ourselves enough to make that happen? I don't think so. So if you're a Yankees fan, you're a Dodgers fan, you're somewhere where you have a $400 million payroll, you're an Indiana Hoosier fan because you have 837,000 alumni that are sitting back ready to write checks for your Indiana Hoosiers football team. I got news for you. You're going to see the Hoosiers, the Indiana Hoosiers, you're going to see them in the top 25 for the rest of your life. Are you ready for that? Is that parity? Is that a good thing? I don't know. Interesting enough, though, 10 straight years that Major League Baseball had different winners. This year, probably not. It'll probably be the Dodgers again. That's Bone Fragments here on the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup.
Hey, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few people have ever been allowed to enter in. I'm talking Tony Kurre, Kip Keefer, Paul Feinbaum, Nick Saban, and the great Bear Bryant sitting behind me. Before I get to my message this week, let's bring in some good news for the Alabama Crimson Tide. This past week, Aiden Holloway made a plea agreement for the marijuana charges that he has against him. They have put him into a second chance program. Thank God we got our point guard back. And thank God for them second chance programs. I am a person who 40 years ago entered a second chance program, and I turned out pretty good. Some people say I'm crazy, but hell, who cares what they say? But here we are. Aiden Holloway's back, and last week, Amari Allen announced that he'll be coming back. So we got Aiden Holloway back. We got Amari Allen back. And word out Tuscaloosa is that Nate Oates has recruited 6 guys over 6'10". Oh, I love it. Nate Oates has finally got the message to go get some paint thugs and stop getting out-rebound, outplayed on the defensive end. You got to have some guys like the Worm, Dennis Rodman. You got to have some dirt daubers, guys that'll go do the dirty work. Nate Oates finally got the message. Expect a big year for Alabama basketball. I'm spitting. Anytime I start spitting, I get anointed, so watch out. But my main topic this week is Nick Saban went to Washington. You know, there was a movie out when I was a kid called Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And it was about a guy who was an idealist who went to Washington, and they appointed him more or less as a figurehead, as a hand puppet, to use however they wanted to. But Mr. Smith quickly found out he was among people that he really didn't want to be among. Individuals that was corrupt, that was led by money, driven by money. Hell, it wasn't politics. It was just a bunch of greedy people. 2026, Mr. Saban goes to Washington. I love Nick Saban. I had 6 fat heads of Nick Saban in my bedroom. And my wife said, honey, it's either me or Nick Saban. And I said, I hope we can remain friends, baby. I chose Nick Saban over my wife. That's how much I love him. But now he's got among these hound dogs in Washington and got fleas all over him. I never thought I would say this, but Nick Saban was a hypocrite this week when he went to Washington and said that he was trying to fix college football back in the days when he said Jimbo Fisher was trying to ruin it. That's a lie, Nick Saban. You was trying to get more millions so you could outbid Jimbo Fisher for that 325-pound defensive tackle. Don't lie to us. We the fans love you, Nick. You are a freaking legend. Don't get fleas on you by hanging out with those sorry-ass hound dogs in Washington, D.C. I'm spitting again. It just irritates me that the greatest man, one of the greatest men, I'm sorry, Lord Jesus, that I've ever known, Nick Saban, would go to Washington and Ted Cruz of all damn people. Come on, Nick, you better than that, dude. You are a legend. Stay the hell out of Washington, D.C. You don't need that crap for your legacy. Stay away from that garbage. And no, I love you, President Trump, so let's get that right. Anyway, listen to me. Be yourself, man. Don't let anybody make you a hand puppet the way Washington, D.C. just did the greatest coach in Alabama history. You better than that, Nick. Man, I never thought I'd say you was a hypocrite this week. And I hear you, Bear. I hear you. Bear don't like that crap. And I don't either, Nick. I'm sorry. But anyway, remember, it's just a game. Don't be like the legend. The psychiatrists have said, plumb insane.
Welcome, everybody. It's time for some Kip perspective here on the starting lineup. And we're going to be blowing the whistle on some major sports fouls. Before we do that, we've got to dispense with the real business at hand. The Belmont today being run in Saratoga. Belmont finally will be opened again in September after about a 4-year renovation. But today the action ships up north to Saratoga for the third jewel of the Triple Crown. I hate to be a sellout and go with the favorite. Renegade, the 4, is the best horse. I've got 2 sleepers, though, both the Chad Brown horses. The 6, Growth Equity, and the 8, Emerging Market. Both of these guys with the right trip, getting real close to the front, can steal this race away from the closers. Golden Tempo will be flying at the end, but I like Renegade on top with the 2 Chad Brown horses, 2 with the 6 and 4 with the 6 and 4 with the 8 are the numbers you need to play. Now, the first foul. I got a call against horse racing. The Triple Crown has become just another event. It is not a special edition as it used to be, because again today in the Belmont, we do not have a chance at a Triple Crown winner. And it's because these purists, these old-time horse racing writers, oh, you can't change the format. It's got to be 3 races in 5 weeks. Well, let me just tell you about changing the format. In 2020, we ran the Belmont first, the Preakness second, and the Kentucky Derby third, and it was a lot different disbursement of dates. Also, these last couple of years, the Belmont has been run at Saratoga at 1 1/8 instead of 1.5 miles. And if that's not enough, this year's Preakness was at Laurel in Maryland. So there's already been changes made. Go ahead and add 1 more week between the Derby and the Preakness. 6 weeks, 3 wins, 3 different states, 3 different tracks. That doesn't take away from the tradition of the Triple Crown. That just makes it, again, a possibility to be a great event. So that's the first foul. The horse racing establishment needs to get on the stick. Second foul. I've got another one. I got a foul against Fox Network. They are the television network for the World Cup. The greatest sports event in the world is coming to the United States. This just in, Fox, it's not the greatest sports event in the world in this country. And this is the country I live in. Soccer's fine. The World Cup is a big deal to the rest of the world. This is a major obsession, but I don't really care about it. And the reason I really don't care about it is because my nation sucks at soccer. I'm just going to say it. We're not good. The best athletes in the country don't play soccer. They play baseball. They play basketball. They play football. They don't play soccer. We're not any good. And Fox has got this campaign rolling where they're telling you we've got a chance to win the World Cup. We do not. The United States cannot and will not win the World Cup. We're not even on the same level as these great international teams who actually think this is a real sport. So that's my second foul. Let's turn to what Legend talked about in the cave today, the Washington hearings, this nonsense. The next foul, Ted Cruz and Cody Campbell. Guess who Ted Cruz's #1 contributor, donator, supporter is? If you guess Cody Campbell, you win. Cody Campbell funds all of Ted Cruz's activities, and now Ted's written this great bill. These are 2 of the ultimate capitalists writing basically a socialist bill that everybody should share in the revenue and everybody should tie for first place. BS. This bill needs to be thrown out. It's just a shot to try to take the SEC and Big Ten down to the level of everybody else. And if you're an SEC fan like me, Greg Sankey weighed in this week with a letter and said, we're against this. I'm right with him. We are against this. We don't like it. Finally, we talked about 8 teams from the SEC still alive. 3 of the super regionals are right here in Alabama. But there's shenanigans at play. Guess what? There is a baseball selection committee. I know that shocks you. We talk about the football selection committee all the time. One of the matchups in the super regionals is Troy at home, which is wonderful. They're 36-30. I really don't know how they rate hosting one of these. But guess who they're playing? Little Rock. This is just a blatant matchup to put 2 teams together. So we have a Cinderella story. It's going to emerge from this. Whoever wins is going to go to Omaha with the final teams. And the Cinderella story has to be in place or it's just not any good. A lot of big teams are playing other teams with major records. This is just ridiculous. Anytime human beings are involved, Just like football, it gets screwed up. It's time to feed all this information to AI and let them spit out with an unbiased opinion and no human beings involved who the best teams are to participate in these sports. And finally, how about those Golden Knights? I got to call one more foul on myself, because at the end of the regular season coming, I said they're not even going to make the playoffs. Well, they made the playoffs. They've won 2 series, and right now they are in the Stanley Cup Finals. And right after we wrap up taping, I'm on an airplane. I will be at Game 3 tonight at the Fortress in Las Vegas against the Carolina Hurricanes, and we'll get a lot of that on footage for you next week here on the starting lineup. Thank you, everybody. Kip Keefer, that's Kip Perspective for this week. We are rolling along on the starting lineup.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I am a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. As far as the Vegas Heaters, well, when it rains, it pours. We've never, in the history of this program, I think probably 5 years or something now, been in this bad of a stretch, especially from a futures perspective where just nothing seems to be going our way. Luckily, we cashed out Michigan to win the college basketball national championship a couple months ago, because without that, we would just be having a total disaster 2026. Last week, we eulogized all our NHL futures positions with the Avalanche going down without a fight in that 4-0 series sweep against the Golden Knights. And now, a week later, we have to say goodbye to our NBA portfolio as well. It wasn't really much of a portfolio this year. I was just all in on the Thunder from game 1 of the season, at least to win the title. That was the only team I wanted to bet. We got great numbers at the beginning of the year. Immediately, they started going down. I thought this team was poised to break the stretch. What do we have? 7 straight teams now we're going to win in the NBA without repeating. I thought the Thunder were going to be the one to break it. It was not meant to be. They go down to the Spurs. So, of course, now we've got Spurs, Knicks in the NBA Finals. I always kind of like to go more process-driven on this and think, did I make a bad bet? And at the end of the day, I bet the Thunder almost 3-1. I think we got 250, 275. I bet at a couple different places, gave out before the season going into this to win the NBA title. And honestly, I think with the way the year went, this is another one where it really hurts to lose, but I would probably bet it again. I do think they were the best team. It's just so often it comes down to in the NBA, especially, are you healthy at the right time? And I thought the Thunder were deep enough they could endure a lot. However, I don't think they could endure losing 2 of their 4 best players, 1 of their best 2 players. No Jalen Williams, no AJ Mitchell down the stretch of that series. I think that really flipped it in a big way, and still was close, still had the chance to beat the Spurs, but they go down. This isn't a sour grapes on my end. I think I've benefited from injuries a lot in the past years. We've had a great run on this show, especially, so sometimes it just swings the other way. Right now it seems like it's swinging the other way against me in every scenario. So we see the Thunder go down. It was tough. The Spurs-Knicks series, it really, I was feeling so down about the Thunder. It took me a long time to really handicap it, and I also thought it was really close. I didn't know which way I was going to be leaning. I did ultimately wind up thinking that the Spurs were going to be too tall of a task, kind of pun intended there, with Victor Wembanyama for the Knicks to take down. However, now at the time of recording, you guys might have more information than me. You've seen 2 games. I only saw game 1, and what do you know? The Knicks keep it rolling, 12 straight wins now. Beat the Spurs. I still think, despite this game 1, when the Spurs just did not look right, they looked absolutely gassed. That long series, we see this happen time and time again. A team goes to 7. I never know when to go with that and when to ignore it. Typically, I ignore it and go more based on the full season data. Maybe that was my mistake here, because I did like the Spurs in game 1. Had a 14-point lead in the third quarter, but it ultimately fell apart. However, as the series keeps going on, I just find it tough to believe that I will be on the Knicks much. So I know as you're watching this, we're going into game 3. I'm not sure what happened at game 2 with our recording schedule, but I do think I will probably be on the Spurs. Even that first game back at Madison Square Garden, I think you're going to be paying a big tax because it's going to be such a crazy environment. It's all we're going to hear about. I still, despite the game 1 stinker, I'm sticking to my gun. I think it will be more the Spurs. However, more pressing, the other big thing going on in sports right now, we always like to cover the biggest sports topics in this segment from a betting perspective. Right here in Vegas tonight, game 3 of the Stanley Cup final between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, we broke down the series a little bit last week on the show. I said that I do think Carolina should be the favorite. However, with as high as the prices has gotten, I was leaning more towards Vegas on the price. I've only seen 1 game, again, kind of like the NBA Finals so far at the time of recording this, but Vegas wins game 1. Not a shock to me, such an inflated number. I did not end up betting it, full disclosure, but I would have leaned the Vegas way. I never think the NBA or the NHL championship series are as simple as the zigzag theory, which has been very popular in sports betting circles for going back 15, 20 years now, where one team loses game one, you go on the next team, the total, vice versa. I don't really go by that at all. I just go on my numbers on game to game. However, this is one where I think it's going to be back and forth. I think if there's a good chance that this goes 7. I picked Carolina in 7 at the beginning. Game 3 tonight at T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas. I did look at this as a good spot for the Golden Knights. Without seeing game 2, I would say my target range is I would like to take Vegas. If you could get below like minus 120, I think that is a pretty possible range. Just Carolina takes money every single game. The betting market just seems to love the Hurricanes. I know their analytics are so sterling, but they really kind of game the system with all their shots and the way they play defense. I do think it's close to that. I think Vegas has the higher end talent. Would not be shocked at all if they won the series. I mean, that's easy to say now. At the time of my recording, they are winning. They're the favorite after winning game 1, now up 1-0. I think this is going to be a really close series, a really long series, and one where I could see myself on both teams depending on the situation. One where I might flip-flop a lot, as I alluded to, as opposed to the NBA Finals, where it is going to be more Spurs for me. And if I go down with the ship, hey, I've been going up in flames over and over and over in this segment lately, especially on futures. That's okay. We will try to get them next time. Down but not out. Hope you enjoyed another edition of the Vegas Heaters. Let's see what the rest of the guys have to finish off the starting lineup.
It is going to be 7 weeks from today. We'll have not a full board of great games. UAB is going to be playing at Illinois that Saturday, but the games are going to be starting actually 7 weeks prior to Thursday night before that. So we're inside about 84, 85 days. I cannot wait. It's going to be super exciting. And of course, we're going to be looking at all kinds of college football numbers. We get there. We'll be on the air 30 minutes before that ABC SEC game of the week. We don't have these crappy Big Ten Rutgers games. I mean, we're talking like Georgia, Clemson. We're talking Alabama, Texas. We're talking huge games. And they have 3 games every single Saturday right there, 11 o'clock, 2:30, and 6 o'clock. No reason to change the channel here at ABC 3340. What do you say, Kip?
I can't wait for football. We're all SEC all the time. If Game Day wants to jet out to Oregon and talk about the Ducks, you don't have to watch that nonsense. You tune in right here on the starting lineup, and you catch all the action on Alabama, Auburn, and all the rest of the SEC teams.
One of the reasons we are watched more than College Game Day on ESPN is because we are local, we are live, and we have this guy right here, the legend, who's going to be rooting on the Crimson Tide. Had Kip on the Kip Keefer and Kurre sports show the other day, went through the lineup, and we've got Alabama losing 4 football games. This potential,
well,
and he's
for sure,
and he's
4.
got Kentucky knocking off the Crimson Tide in week 2.
I don't like that trip to Lexington earlier in the year.
Any thoughts on that, my man?
Well, there's no game on Alabama's schedule, with the exception of 1 or 2, that is a sure thing. I'm talking Kentucky.
Wow, really?
I'm talking South Carolina. I'm talking Florida State. All these teams are older and more mature. Alabama will field one of the youngest offensive lines in Alabama history. This could be a season that makes or breaks DeBoer. If I was a betting man, I would say DeBoer is on the verge of being broke.
He does have Chattanooga later in the season. You're going to give me that one, right?
Yeah,
the last cupcake
1 or
game.
2.
And of course, you got the Iron Bowl, which
that's not a cupcake.
Could be not a cupcake, and it's going to be at Bryant-Denny, and that is going to be a huge game. But that Kentucky game, now you got me scratching my head a little bit on this Wildcat school. Of course, they got a brand new coach. Maybe it's because Stoops is out, and you weren't a big Stoops guy. You feel more comfortable, kind of rooting for the Big Blue. Maybe.
Yeah. I think Will Stein's going to do a really good job there, the new coach, and so we'll see. Lexington, Kentucky. Second week of the year, that's an SEC road game right off the bat. That's tough. That
line 13.5, if you're looking at early lines, 13.5 Alabama over Kentucky. Something smells. Something's not right. This is the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup. Until next week, God bless.